Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I got a disassembly for you of this little guy. This is the Spyderco Alcyone, or Alcyone, or Alcyone, something. Call me Al, whatever. Either way, sorry. Random Paul Simon reference. Enjoy, people older than most of my viewers. So anyways, let's go ahead and take this little guy apart. I'm a little bit afraid of thread locker here. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Because I believe the Polestar that I had, absolutely had thread locker and, oh no, we got the pivot loose at least. That's a start. That's nice. Although it is absolutely thread locked. Let's see if we can then get the other two here. That would be nice. Nope. These have really crappy screws. Okay, well, I got that side at least. What I mean by really crappy screws is take a look at this. This is a little Torx bit, but you can see it's even got a little divot in there, which means you have even less actual surface area for the sides of the driver to engage with. And so it wants to do what you hear in there. Oh, I'm so close to having this. Okay, yeah, there we go. We're good. And we can take this apart. Mind you, it's via this circuitous route. It's never a great idea to have, one of your fasteners on one side, etc. But given that this is a standoffy sort of construction, I think we ought to be okay. But still, so let's go ahead and pop this guy off here. The bigger question is whether the... No, okay, the clip screws aren't connecting to anything on the other side. So we should just be able to pop this guy open in some way or another here. By the way, sorry about the thumb here. The steel wheel freaking resident bit me good. With the thumb disc, not even with the blade. Like, how stupid is that? I spend days reviewing pocket knives, and I cut myself on the freaking thing that you designed to touch with your finger. Not a brilliant man. Well, actually, just not a brilliant design. Way too damn sharp. Okay, so then... Well, that's a start. It's begun disassembling itself. That's good. The only remaining issue being this little area here, which means that this, holy cow, look at the amount of blue thread lock in there. But that just, I should be able to pop the pivot out, or the back of this guy the rest of the way out. So, come off it. Okay, this is getting dangerous. I kind of want the blade to be hidden for this part here, just so I'm... It looks like there is a little bit of... There we go. So I've just popped things closer back together, but I'm hoping that by doing so, I'll get things better in alignment next time. There we go. Yeah. So now that's popped off. Now that's popped off. This should whole thing. This should whole thing. Wow. This whole thing should. There we go. Pop off. And the knife is disassembled. And so is this bandage. Whatever. Work with it here. Interestingly, so a couple of things to highlight here. Holy crap, the thread locker, guys. Chinese factory is a little aggro, what, with the thread locker at this point. But I'll get in there and try and clean some of that out. Huzzah. Absolutely huzzah. Good Lord, guys. Could you thread lock this thing any harder? All right, but a couple of things to point out here. You've got some nice removal here of stock for weight, which is good. You've got yourself a pivot that's actually much more similar to like the Spyderco PM2 pivot than it is to anything else, which is nice. You've got this little kind of, the pivot itself is a three-piece affair. You have a screw coming in from one side, a screw coming in from the other side, and then the middle portion here, which the blade will rotate around and which captures the washers against the scales there. It's a fine little pivot system, no complaints with it. And so that's how that's done. And then you've got yourself some standoffs. I mean, really, there's not that much fancy going on here. So I'm just kind of wiping this all down with rub and alcohol. If you're curious about any of the tools that I'm using in this disassembly, I've got a whole video about that. This is, I get the impression that this knife was sent to me by Spyderco directly, by the way, because, a bunch of people have been talking to me about it lately, and, I figured I'd ask them to check one of these guys out. And this I gather this is feeling vaguely transgressive lately. Spyderco has been, Sal Blesser specifically, has been posting, forum threads and whatnot about, people who are taking apart their knives and it's causing them problems, and then more specifically taking apart knives, then returning them, which is ugly and you should never freaking do. I'm a big advocate for being able to disassemble and clean up your knives, just because I think it can very often make improvements to the action and whatnot. But the fact that they're sending me this and I'm immediately taking it apart, I'm sure is going to chagrin them at some level. But you know what? I don't care. They know what I'm about. So it is what it is. But, what we can see here is that this one is not super ready for taking apart. They've got all kinds of thread locker on it here, which is not so swinging. Stop pins up here, by the way. And, yeah, these shallow little headed fasteners just drives me a little nuts. I understand that it, ergonomically speaking, makes a little sense because you don't have the sharp point of the star there sticking up. But no, not a big fan. So anyways, there's that. And so I'm going to keep doing the disassembly here. We're actually pretty much good to go here. There's not too much else that we can do. We're not able to clean underneath this guy, but the thing is that doesn't really matter. With this pivot system, I'm okay with not getting under there because the washer won't freely rotate on the bottom there either. So no biggie. Now we have the stop pin is back in place. That's an important little detail here, and that's kind of free roaming, if you will. We'll go ahead and lubricate this detent ball path a little bit there. Over-lubricate it, if you will. We will go ahead and lubricate the washer area. I'm using a pen full of 10-weight nano oil here, which is working nicely. There we go. And using the 10-weight here, maybe a little optimistically, hoping that the action will be nice and flicky by the end of it. Not that I'm capable of nice and flicking at the moment. Hashtag occupational hazards. But, yeah. And now we should be able to pop everything back together, assuming that the stop pin gets in place. We'll need to move this over here. There we go. Yeah, everything's popped back together now. That's good. So now I'm going to kind of keep this pinched shot here as I'm reinserting, reapplying everything. I'm going to use a little bit of blue thread locker here. There we go. One thing I'll comment on and that I do appreciate is that I'm using a T8 bit for all of these screws. This is a little detail, but it's one that I always like when companies are willing to use one fastener for all of the screws on a given model. Does it matter practically? No, not really, but it does actually. It's a little nicety. It's like I'm thinking about you, I got your back thing. Because it makes it much, much easier. And if this is somebody's one tool, and he says on a knife review channel, very few people, I imagine, who watch this channel have just one knife that they carry all the time, day in, day out. This world is a world of the disloyal, if you will, the people who are constantly bouncing around. But in that perfect world where you have a person who has one knife exactly, that's a nice thing because they can carry just one tool that works with their just one knife. And everyone can be just one happy. Okay, so we're back together here. At this point, we just get to the tuning portion. There's no blade play here, but it's a little bit rough running still, so I'm going to see if I can't... Okay. I'm going to see if I can't back it off just a little bit further here so it runs a little smoother. The key is to have the pivot just loose enough that you're not getting any blade play, or that you're getting smooth movement, but it's just free enough that you're not getting any side-to-side play. I've just freed it out enough that I'm getting the play, so I'm just going to tighten down a little scotch. Perfect. Yeah, we're good to go. Alrighty, there you go. Yeah, close enough. Don't have a thumb at the moment. Hope this has been interesting to you and that you have yourselves just an absolutely wonderful rest of the day. Bye now.